Chosen one, time is being extended for you. Heed God's warning. There is something divine unfolding that you cannot afford to overlook. This message is not just a reflection, it is an interruption from heaven. A sacred moment where time itself pauses, not to delay your destiny, but to give you another opportunity to become aligned with it. You may have noticed things slowing down. Doors that should have closed are still open. Deadlines that should have expired feel mysteriously fluid. It's not a coincidence. It's divine mercy. God is doing something you cannot see fully yet, but you can sense it. This is not about chance. This is about the orchestration of higher timing, sacred timing. And the extension you're being granted is not a delay, it's an invitation to rise up, prepare, and listen. Watch this video until the very end, because there is a revelation waiting to be unlocked, and it requires your full attention. And comment below with your warmest wishes and the number 99. This is the sacred number of divine completion and acceleration. Your wishes are not just words, they are frequencies. They are agreements with the universe. When you write them down and speak them aloud, you activate a spiritual transaction. You remind time that you are a co-creator with God, and in this space, where faith meets energy, dreams come alive. So release your wishes below, in the name of alignment, abundance, and awakening. Now, chosen one, press the hype button under the video and like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. The truth is, time is one of the most sacred tools God uses to mold us, guide us, and reveal us. When you're chosen, time doesn't always move the same way it does for others. Sometimes you're accelerated when the world slows down, and sometimes the clocks around you keep ticking, but your destiny hits pause, not because you're being punished, but because God is adding power to your next move. If you're feeling like something is on hold, like you were supposed to be further along, or wondering why your breakthrough hasn't arrived yet, it's because time is being extended for your benefit. Not to frustrate you, but to refine you. And that refinement is a form of protection. God is guarding your harvest. Your time has not been denied. It has been sanctified. There is a heavenly warning attached to this delay. Not the kind that punishes, but the kind that protects. The warning is this: don't misuse the grace that has been given to you. Don't take this extension for granted, because this is a window, not a wall. It's open, but it won't stay open forever. Some people think they have forever, but the chosen know better. You've been shown too much. You've seen signs, synchronicities, visions, dreams. You've felt God stirring your soul in quiet moments. You've woken up at strange hours, unable to explain the weight in your chest or the fire in your spirit. That's not imagination. That's invitation. God is speaking through time. And right now, you're being asked to pay attention like never before. The divine realm does not need time, but you do. And when heaven steps in to extend your time, that means your role in this timeline is crucial. You are not replaceable. You are necessary. Your obedience, your presence, your readiness, it matters in this hour. The universe has paused the storm for your repositioning. It's not that the storm won't come. It's that God wants you in the right place when it arrives. And the delay? It's giving you just enough space to move. But the warning is clear. If you don't move during the extension, you'll miss what's next. This is not the moment to be casual with your calling. This is the moment to rise with courage. Chosen one, you may feel the pressure building, and that's not a sign to panic. It's a sign to prepare, because every prophetic extension comes with a demand. That demand is not rooted in fear. It's rooted in destiny. Something has been released in the spirit realm, and it is moving toward you at great speed. But before it arrives, your inner world must be prepared to hold it. If God gave you everything you asked for right now, would your soul be able to carry the weight of the blessing? or would it crush you? That's why the extension is not just about waiting. It's about becoming. You're not being punished. You're being preserved. The divine calendar does not operate on convenience. It operates on completion. That means certain spiritual things must be sealed before others are revealed. And you, chosen one, are in the middle of a divine sealing. That's why relationships have been distanced. That's why opportunities paused. That's why people don't understand your silence. You're not avoiding, you're ascending. And the time extension is evidence that heaven has not forgotten you. It's finalizing you. This pause is a preparation, a reset, a holy countdown. But it requires your awareness. Because to receive divine time is one thing, to respect it is another. You may have thought the delay meant denial, but in God's hands, delay is often disguised destiny. The warning is this: do not judge your future by your current pace. What looks slow now may be saving you from ruin. What looks like silence now may be protecting you from destruction. Heaven knows what it's doing. Even when your plans fall apart, God's plan is being built. So do not fear the slowness. Do not curse the stillness. Because time is not your enemy. It is your ally when it's in God's control. And you must know, you are not late. You are right on time for the divine version of your life. But your timeline had to be adjusted to protect your purpose. That's why the people around you can't compare. Their timing is not your timing. Their journey is not your journey. You were never meant to run beside them. You were meant to rise in a way that made them look up. And right now, God is giving you time to build the foundation under your feet, so that when you rise, it won't be temporary. It will be timeless. There is a gate in the spirit realm that has not shut yet, and it was kept open for you. But this is not something to take lightly. The extension comes with expectation, and that expectation is faithfulness to the unseen, to the whisper, to the prompting in your gut that says, this is your chance. You don't need more time. You need to honor the time you've been given. That's the key. Because when you honor time, time opens doors. When you respect the sacred rhythm of your own unfolding, heaven rewards you with acceleration. This is your grace period, your sacred pause. And it's not here to waste. It's here to witness. Witness your commitment. Witness your change. Witness your decision to stop replaying old timelines and finally step into the one that belongs to you. God is not slow. God is strategic. And in His strategy, you are being rewritten for greater glory. The warning was never to scare you. It was to awaken you, to make you aware that the next movement in your life depends on your current focus. You've been given time. Now what will you do with it? Time, when it comes from God, is never just an open space. It is a divine assignment in disguise. You didn't ask for this delay, but heaven knew you needed it. What you thought was stagnation is actually preparation. The silence you've been hearing, that was God pulling you aside, away from the noise of the world, and into a deeper chamber of understanding. You were not paused for punishment. You were paused for power. And this divine extension of time is not about waiting for something random to happen. It's about refining the vessel so that when the next moment arrives, you don't fumble it. You must remember that timing, in the hands of God, is a tool of perfect orchestration. The clock may tick the same for everyone else, but for the chosen, it slows down, speeds up, even reverses, not according to the world's calendar, but according to heaven's design. When God extends your time, it is because something eternal is being woven into your path, something that requires an atmosphere of silence, stillness, and sacred recalibration. That's why others may not understand what you're doing. They see you still, but they can't see the fire inside you. They see you paused, but they don't hear the new sound your soul is learning to sing. This moment in your life is not to be underestimated. It's not a space to coast. It's a holy hallway between the doors of what was and what will be. And in this hallway, everything matters. Every thought, every intention, every decision, every action, they all carry weight now. You're being trusted with time, not just for yourself, but for those you're called to uplift. There are people connected to your obedience, lives that will shift because you chose not to waste the extension. And if that doesn't sober you, chosen one, nothing will. Sometimes heaven holds back what you want to protect what you need. You wanted the breakthrough, but God saw the burnout that would come if you received it too soon. You prayed for acceleration, but God saw the cracks in your foundation. You asked for visibility, but God saw the enemies hiding in plain sight, waiting to exploit your elevation. So instead, He gave you something better. Time. Time to reinforce your inner walls. Time to remove what can't go with you. Time to become the version of yourself that is equipped to not only receive what's coming, but to rule over it with wisdom. There's a divine warning echoing in the delay. Not a threat, but a plea from heaven. Don't miss this moment. That's what God is whispering. Because while the world measures time in hours and days, God measures it in readiness. The question isn't, how long will it take? The question is, are you ready yet? And if you aren't, God will stall time. He will slow the pace. He will reroute you through wildernesses and detours. Not to punish you, but to prepare you in a way no spotlight ever could. This is the mercy of divine timing, the fierce protection of your destiny. You must realize now, the extension has a limit. This is not an indefinite grace period. It is a targeted opening, a narrowed window through which only those who are awake can pass. You've already been given more time than most, more chances than many, more warnings than you can count. And that is not a coincidence. That is a calling. When God extends your time, He is declaring, you are not finished. Not only are you not done, but what's coming next demands your full presence. So don't drift. Don't numb yourself with distractions. Don't get lost in comparing your delay to someone else's breakthrough. Their lane is not your lane. Your lane is being cleared for something unprecedented. This time, when the shift happens, it will be irreversible. That's why it's taking longer. Heaven is not interested in temporary change for you. God is building something eternal in you. Something that will stand even when the world shakes. So every second of this delay is sacred. Every hour is charged with purpose. You are in the center of a divine engineering process, and your obedience is the blueprint. Can you trust God's pace, even when it seems painfully slow? Can you still believe in the promise, even when the deadline passed? That's the test of this extension. Will you remain faithful even when the clock doesn't tick how you expected? Many don't pass this test. They grow tired in the hallway. They lose hope. They assume God has moved on. But you, chosen one, you are different. You were not just called, you were trusted. And this time extension is proof of that trust. You've been shown things in dreams that others never saw. You've felt waves of intuition that others dismissed. You've had prophetic glimpses of what's to come, because you are supposed to carry it. That vision, that fire, that pull in your spirit, it's your compass. And the extension is to help you follow it without fear. But heed this. If you ignore this grace period, it will not last forever. Time bends for the chosen, but it doesn't stop for the passive. The hourglass is still turning, and when it flips again, everything will change. So God is saying now, prepare, refocus, eliminate what no longer serves the future you're walking into. Pay attention to the small signals, the subtle nudges, the quiet dreams, the relationships being rearranged. None of it is random. It's all connected to the divine schedule unfolding over your life. You're not just living, you're being positioned. Strategically, lovingly, urgently. What you thought was lost time is being redeemed in front of your very eyes. While others run in circles, you are being handed a straight path. Not because you're better, but because you're chosen. And with that comes responsibility. Time is not just being extended for you to breathe, it's being extended for you to build. Your hands have work to do. Your spirit has things to carry. And if you listen closely, you'll feel the momentum building. Even now, the world may say it's quiet, but in the spirit, things are rumbling. Heaven is about to move, and you're being told in advance. God doesn't warn the world, He warns His own. He whispers to the chosen before the earth begins to shake, and He's whispering now, I've bought you time. Don't waste it. You are living in the grace of a countdown, not to an ending, but to an emergence. You're not being delayed, you're being sharpened. And when the moment arrives, it won't just be a blessing. It will be a breakthrough so complete, so undeniable, it will make the waiting worth it. You were born for a time such as this, chosen one. And now, time itself is bending to meet your readiness. Every moment that has passed was not a waste. It was a setup, a recalibration, a divine alignment. And as much as it may feel like you've been overlooked, you haven't. You've been observed, watched closely by the Creator who knows the exact second you must rise. This delay you're living through is not empty. It's holy. You are walking through time that has been set apart, time that others would pray for if they only knew what it held. You are not behind. You are being aligned. That's what the world doesn't understand about chosen people. What looks like being held back is actually the sign of being held in place, until the heavens are ready to release your next phase. And God is not early or late with those He appoints. He's exact. He's deliberate. And this extension you've been granted carries weight beyond your current understanding. Not just for you, but for generations that will walk through the doors you are being called to open. This is legacy time. It's not only about you arriving, it's about preparing the world for what arrives through you. There are assignments on your life that require a fortified mind, a protected heart, and a spirit anchored so deep in God that no storm can shake it. That's why the delay. You had to become unshakable. And sometimes, becoming unshakable requires being stripped of what you thought you needed. The silence taught you to listen beyond words. The pause taught you to stand without applause. The wait taught you to breathe without rushing. These are divine lessons. Sacred disciplines that don't come in the spotlight. They are forged in the shadows. God doesn't waste anything, not even your frustration. And every tear you've cried, every door that didn't open when you begged it to, every prayer that felt unanswered, it was all witnessed. And more than that, it was all woven into a bigger narrative. A story that required you to stop, to look again, to question the path, to humble yourself before the one who holds all timing in His hands. And now that you've done that, now that you've surrendered to a higher clock, time is shifting in your favor. Quietly, powerfully, deliberately. You are being given a final stretch of time to align with the version of you that is about to emerge. The version that doesn't flinch at resistance. The version that doesn't chase validation. The version that moves with clarity, grace, and command. That's who you really are. But you needed time to meet them. And heaven made sure that time found you. This is not just an extension. It's a divine introduction to the future you. But there's a warning in the wind, still. God didn't give you this window just to comfort you. He gave it to convict you, to shake you into awareness. Because what's coming after this moment will require full capacity, not just belief. You've believed long enough. Now it's time to become. Become the answer you've been praying for. Become the solution you've been waiting on. Become the leader the world is crying out for. That's why you were given this time. Not to sit, but to shift. The energy around you is shifting already. You can feel it. What used to frustrate you now feels small. What used to entertain you now feels like noise. What used to scare you now feels like a training ground. That's not coincidence. That's the evidence of inner transformation. You are growing into the level of responsibility you prayed for. And that's why the delay was necessary. You couldn't skip this part. God couldn't rush what required fire to refine. And make no mistake, chosen one. This refinement has cost you. The isolation, the waiting, the unanswered questions, the nights that blurred into mornings without clarity, the friends that disappeared, the relationships that dissolved. It wasn't for nothing. It was for this moment when the spirit realm announces, time has been extended for the chosen one. The reason? Because your next move isn't small, it's sacred. It carries ripple effects that will echo into realms you've yet to imagine. This is a turning point disguised as a timeout, and only the awakened will recognize it. While others waste these moments in distraction, you are being positioned to hear the quiet instruction of God. Instructions that don't come in lightning bolts, they come in whispers. And when you follow the whispers, you align with the impossible. That's why the delay has felt so strange. Because this part of your path isn't logical, it's spiritual. This is the area where time responds to obedience, not effort. Don't be deceived by the pace of the world. Let them rush. Let them climb. Let them compare. Your journey has been carved by the hand of God, and your extension is your permission to build deliberately, not desperately, to rise steadily, not sloppily. God is allowing you time because what's ahead must be carried with grace, not force. And grace cannot be manufactured. It is developed in stillness. It is birthed in surrender. There is a weight to this moment, a holy seriousness, a trembling of time around you. If you listen close, you'll feel it in the air. The atmosphere is pregnant with transition. Your angels have been released. The shift is beginning. But heaven won't release what's next until you say yes to the now of discipline, the now of clarity, the now of releasing every version of you that was only surviving, so you can become the version of you that builds, leads, commands, and transcends. The danger is in doing nothing. The warning is in staying the same. Because time extended without transformation becomes judgment. And you were not chosen for judgment. You were chosen for glory. But glory comes at a price. And part of that price is listening when God says, I've given you more time. Now do something with it. That is the charge. That is the calling. That is the echo of heaven in this hour. There is a divine intelligence to why things haven't moved yet. You may think it's about something being blocked externally, but the real shift has always been internal. Heaven never needed to shift the external landscape first. It needed you to awaken, to anchor, and to mature into the one who could steward what's next. That's why time bent around you. That's why doors paused mid-swing, not because they were locked, but because the version of you who will walk through them is still being sculpted. And now, the sculptor's hands are lifting. The final shaping is taking place. You are close. Chosen one. The atmosphere has started to change. You may feel tired, stretched, even uncertain, but there's something undeniable pressing on your spirit. That pull is not anxiety. That pressure is not confusion. That's spiritual momentum building behind the scenes. That's the sound of divine time reaching its threshold. The extension was for your readiness. And now, the edge of that extension is beginning to glow. It means the time you've been given is preparing to complete its mission. You are standing in the narrow space between refinement and release. This is the sacred intersection where God waits to see your full attention. Not your perfection, but your attention. Will you look deeper? Will you clear the distractions? Will you say yes, completely, without holding part of yourself back in fear or familiarity? This is that moment. The one where time waits for your obedience before it proceeds. Because you are not just participating in destiny, you're activating it. The delay wasn't random. It was reserved. Reserved for you to experience what others miss because they rush past. God is protecting you from premature arrival. That's why you felt held back. But you weren't being denied. You were being preserved in the vault of divine silence. You were in the spiritual waiting room, not because nothing was happening, but because everything was being arranged in the background. Your connections, your positioning, your internal clarity, all were being aligned to synchronize with divine timing. There are things God wants to entrust you with, but He will never place them in unready hands. You've been asking for wealth, for influence, for expansion. But God's focus has been your roots, because anything built without depth will collapse under weight. And you were not called to rise and fall. You were called to rise and reign. So He gave you time to unlearn the survival patterns that can't carry legacy, time to detox the inner voices that still echo fear, time to rewire your trust, not in the plan, but in the planner. You've walked through fire and didn't even realize how much you were being purified. You've lost people, seasons, pieces of yourself, and all of it was sacred. Every loss was part of the divine trade, the exchange of the temporary for the eternal, the lesser for the greater, the pain for the power. That's the journey of the chosen, and the extension was not to spare you from the fire. It was to keep you inside it long enough to rise from it as gold. There's a weight you carry now that wasn't there before, a sense that the air around you knows your name, that time has taken notice of your presence, that the future is leaning toward you, waiting to be claimed. That's not ego, that's spiritual confirmation. God has been whispering about you in rooms you've never entered. Appointments are being made in the unseen, and the time being extended is a setup, so that when the curtain rises, you're not guessing, you're glowing. This glow will not come from fame, it will not come from money, it will come from alignment. The chosen shine not because of the spotlight, but because of the source. And that's what God has been recalibrating in you. Your source, your foundation, the reason why you move, speak, believe, and create. The delay was only necessary because the old source had to be removed. Your trust in old timelines, expired promises, external validation, all of that had to be pruned so you could root into something eternal. And now that you have, the winds are shifting again. You'll notice new people showing up, new information flowing toward you, new insights in your quiet moments. This is not a trend. This is transition. You're not in the same time you were last month. Time, for the chosen, is not linear. It responds to divine alignment. And your alignment is being recognized by the spiritual realm. Heaven sees it. The earth feels it. Your angels are rejoicing over it. You're not who you used to be. And that's exactly why time was extended, to allow this becoming to take place. But you must understand, not everyone will come with you. Not everything that existed in your delay can exist in your emergence. This time extension has been showing you who's really aligned, not just with you, but with God's vision for you. Pay attention. The conversations that no longer fit, the environments that no longer fuel you, the old mindsets that sound like static. These are signals. Time is not just being extended to prepare you, it's being extended to separate you. Separation is never easy, but it's holy. And God is sanctifying you in this season, setting you apart, not as punishment, but as positioning. You are not common. You are not like them. Your time was purchased by heaven for a higher cause, and that cause requires clarity. If you've been feeling lonely, misunderstood, unseen, it's because God has been narrowing your focus. This was the cost of carrying a calling that shifts atmospheres. You didn't miss it. You didn't ruin it. You didn't delay the promise by accident. In fact, your spirit responded exactly when it needed to. That's why this window is still open. You listened, even when the world tried to drown the whisper, even when your fears screamed louder than your faith. You still leaned into the divine. That is why this extension was allowed. Not because of perfection, but because of persistence. And that persistence will be rewarded. When the appointed hour comes, it will come suddenly. The shift will happen quietly, but its impact will be loud. Things will fall into place, connections will spark, insights will download, resources will appear, and it will all make sense. Why the delay happened, why the door didn't open in January, why the partnership fell apart, why the move didn't finalize. You'll see it clearly. The orchestration behind the stillness. Because the extension was never the enemy, it was the evidence. The proof that God is still writing, still moving, still choosing. And you, chosen one, are the one this chapter was reserved for. There is something magnificent about divine timing. It arrives disguised as stillness, yet contains the full force of acceleration within it. You are not at a standstill, chosen one. You are standing in purpose. Even if nothing seems to be shifting on the surface, something deep within the layers of time has begun to breathe. The heavens have not forgotten your timeline. They have simply hidden it in order to preserve it. And now, the extension is not just about giving you more time. It's about giving time more you. You've been transformed in the waiting. Whether you see it or not, the version of you who first entered this season could not carry what you are about to receive. And that's the revelation. The waiting didn't stop the blessing. It formed the blesser. The extension of time was never about external alignment alone. It was about internal capacity. You are now capable of holding more, not because you learned more strategies, but because you shed more illusions. You've been stripped down to the truth. And in the truth, you've found your strength. This is why God delayed the reveal. You were being equipped with invisible tools, discernment that pierces deception, wisdom that defies logic, resilience that cannot be broken by time's trials. These are the instruments of a true leader. And God could not risk placing eternal assignments in immature hands. So he bought time for you, extended grace for you, not because you asked for it, but because heaven already saw what was coming for you. And now, you are approaching the edge of release. You can feel it in the atmosphere. People are being moved out of your life suddenly. Opportunities are shifting. There's a holy discomfort pushing you to clear space. Don't resist it. These are the final movements before the shift. You are being asked to let go, not to lose, but to make room. There are things scheduled to arrive in this final quarter of time that require empty hands. You must not grip what was. You must extend your hands for what is. The extension was to give you this clarity. Don't miss the message in the movement. God doesn't just give more time for delay's sake. He gives more time to fulfill destiny's weight. There are promises hanging over your bloodline that must be delivered through you. Generational patterns that stop with you. Blessings that begin with you. And that's why this moment is sacred. This is not just the continuation of your timeline. This is the correction of your lineage. You've been placed here to break and to build. And heaven extended the hour so that you'd have enough space to do both, without breaking under pressure.